We are witnessing a serious fight between South Africa and Israel. For the first time, South Africa has kicked out a top Israeli diplomat, Ariel Seideman. He was insulting and attacking President Ramaphosa on social media, and in response, Israel has kicked out the South African representative in Ramallah, Shaun Beyni-Verdit. This is the end of their relationship. But what will be the effects of all this? For the background, in 1948, both the State of Israel and the apartheid regime in South Africa were born. In fact, South Africa was one of the first countries to recognize Israel. Early leaders in both countries felt they were pioneer nations of Europe descent, trying to survive in a hostile neighborhood. For Israel in the Middle East and white minority South Africa in Africa. In the 1960s, Israel actually criticized apartheid to gain friends in newly independent African countries. This made the South African government very angry. After the 1973 Yom Kippur War, most African countries cut ties with Israel. Feeling isolated, Israel turned back to South Africa. This was a marriage of convenience for two pariah states. So, what were the main benefits in the relationship? Number one, military hardware. Israel helped South Africa bypass UN arms embargoes. They built the Cheetah fighter jet based on Israeli tech and the Scorpion missile. Number two, nuclear secrets. It is widely believed and confirmed by declassified documents that the two countries collaborated on nuclear weapons. A famous double flash detected in the ocean in 1979 is thought to be a joint nuclear test. Number three, trade. South Africa provided uranium, coal, and steel to Israel. In return, Israel provided high-tech electronics and military training. What destroyed this relationship? This is the question here. When Nelson Mandela and ANC took power in 1994, the vibe changed instantly. The ANC for decades had been allies with Yasser Arafat, who was the longtime leader and chairman of the Palestine Liberation Organization. Mandela famously said, "Our freedom is incomplete without the freedom of the Palestinians." For the first time, South Africa began to see the treatment of Palestine in the West Bank and Gaza as a reflection of their own history under apartheid. This created deep emotional and political tension. Over the last 20 years, South Africa slowly downgraded its embassy, stopped ministerial visits, and became the world's leading voice for the boycott, divestment, and sanctions movement. Bringing us to what happened today. So, what happened today? Today, South Africa has kicked out a top Israeli diplomat, Ariel Seideman, giving him exactly 72 hours to pack his bags and leave South African soil. Persona non grata is a fancy diplomat term that literally means an unwelcome person. When a government uses this, they are revoking a diplomat's right to be in the country. But what has he done for him to be kicked out? The South African government, specifically the Department of International Relations, cited two main reasons. Number one, the social media attacks. Seideman allegedly used official Israeli embassy accounts to launch insulting and derogatory attacks against President Ramaphosa. You see, in diplomacy, You can disagree with a leader, but publicly insulting the head of your host country is a major no-go under the Vienna Convention. Number 2, the secret visit. South Africa accused the embassy of organizing visits for senior Israeli officials and making donations to local institutions like hospitals in the Eastern Cape without informing the national government. South Africa viewed this as an attempt to undermine their sovereignty and go behind the president's back. And what has been the response of Israel? Hours after South Africa made its move, Israel retaliated, declaring the South African representative in Ramallah, Shauni Beneverdit, persona non grata, and ordering him to leave Israel within 72 hours. Israel officials called South Africa's move a theatrical stunt designed to please the ANC's political base. With all this in mind, what has caused the end of South African and Israel relationship? Here is the thing, behind the fight, there is this big reason. South Africa took Israel to the International Court of Justice, accusing them of genocide. This was seen by Israel as a blood rebel and an unforgivable betrayal. Adding on this, young South Africans, the Gen Z, became more vocal about Palestinian rights on social media, pressuring the ANC government to take a harder line. This has happened in South Africa. What is the reaction of the South African citizens? While many people are cheering this as a stand for dignity, the business community is nervous for one big reason: the United States. With Donald Trump back in the White House in 2026, the US-South Africa relationship is already very shaky. And there is this thing: the US Congress is currently voting on whether to renew AGOA, which is the trade deal that allows South Africa to sell cars and fruits to US without paying taxes. There is a huge fear that this expansion will give the US an excuse to kick South Africa out of the trade deal, which could cost thousands of jobs in the Eastern Cape and Gauteng. Will US intervene in this fight between South Africa and Israel? Or maybe Trump will just be watching as it plays? Africa is watching. The world is watching on how this will unfold. Subscribe to Afri Daily News for updates of what is happening in Africa and around the world. Until the next one, see you then.